So here's the part that worries me with the Joe Flacco plan. It's the only part that just stays in my brain is like, I don't know that this is going to end up the right way, but let's see how it plays out. I just don't know that there's enough games for quarterback 2 and then quarterback 3 to be able to showcase what they can do.
Are you more worried about that because quarterback 3 right now is Shedeur?
Not necessarily. I mean, like, again, though, what I'm really scared of is the idea that they then take quarterback 2, let's just say it's Dillon Gabriel, and he doesn't get to play. He plays whatever that is. Let's say it's 6 or 7 games to close out the season. He looks fine, okay? Looks all right. Shedeur never gets in any sort of game at all. And then you take a quarterback in the 2026 draft, and then we're back to doing the same battle between Dillon and Shedeur for the backup quarterback, and ultimately the two of them never even get to find out what they really are. But in this case, you're right. Yes, maybe that's Shedeur fear, excuse me. We botched his name completely there.
No, it's okay.
It's the Shedeur fear there that might be creeping in.
It's just funny to me because you and I both wince at how many different pronunciations there are of Shedeur Sanders.
We've come so far from the dun-da-da, that one.
No, I'm not mocking Shedeur in that case, by the way.
Okay.
I'm mocking people who have never learned to say the word Shedeur.
It's hard for people. For some reason, it's just hard for people. I don't know why.
Sanders.
Yeah, it's just, and even people on broadcast that you should be able to study these things. But as I demonstrated, sometimes you can mess it up. Maybe not 10 times in a row, but sometimes you can mess it up.
Yeah, it feels like you're going to say Shedeur the right way the next 55 times.
We might be able to get
whereas there are people within the media or people in general. I've heard people within football mispronounce his name. It drives you crazy. Now, So again, I think this makes the beginning of the season interesting for the right reason, which is that I think Joe gives you a chance to be competitive.
Well, he's a wild card.
Yes.
Let's put that out there. Like, if we're going for excitement, we're going for fireworks. Like, Joe Flacco is a wild card, and that gets you excitement for the beginning portion of the season.
Kevin Stefanski's only had one top 12 scoring offense in the entirety of his time as a head coach offensive coordinator.
That's a wild stat.
So it was Joe. In 2023, and
they were never that with Baker the year they went to the playoffs.
I think they were 14th,
and then the following year they
was like 18th.
And then remember the Jacoby Brissett season, they had a top 5 offense when Jacoby Brissett was quarterback. Did Sean tanked it that much?
Yeah,
that's wild.
No, not just Deshaun. Remember they had the top 10 offense scoring for like the first 8 weeks, and then Jacoby played the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then the Deshaun thing happened. That season started out with some promise, and then they hit that mid-season lull, and they never really recovered.
Okay, just for my own amusement here, just because I need to see this. Scoring offense, they were 32nd last year, obviously.
Yep.
So 32nd, 10, 18, 20, 14, and then we're into the Kitchens era. That is the way he gets talked about, and this is just another continuation of that. To have one top 10 scoring offense the entire stretch through 5 years might be the most damning thing we could ever say about him, because people act as if this is he's some sort of offensive savant, and people give the quarterback excuse. Obviously, it's there, but he just doesn't score enough points.
Yeah, and I think that so the reason why I knew this is I'd looked this up specific to the reaction yesterday, because my point was, I thought Dillon Gabriel was fine on Saturday. And then I heard the analysis both on the broadcast. And by the way, I'm talking about like Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas had some very complimentary things to say. Nathan on at the end of the game had some very nice things to say. Our morning show had some very nice things to say.
Yeah.
And it was left me thinking like,
did we watch the same thing?
Like, huh?
So I got it. So I tweeted out when Dillon had the interception. I was like, well, that's a disappointment. The amount of responses I got where people just thought that I was happy that happened. Like, I honestly got worried what was going to happen when I came in here today if I was critical at all, because I'm ready to be, because the whole thing is that you don't want to have turnovers. That's Kevin Stefanski's big bugaboo, and they had 2 of them in that game with 0 touchdown passes. And so I got worried. I'd come in here and people just thought I'm just shilling for Shedeur, but it's just not reality. That game was nowhere close to what we saw with Shedeur.
Shedeur led 3 scoring drives and got and passed for 2 touchdowns in the red zone, by the way, which you get extra points for that, and did not come close to endangering the football. Not a perfect game, by the way. But again, 3 scoring drives in his bounty of work, never came close to a turnover. And everyone who said that last Monday was accused of going over and above in like deference to Shedeur. And then today I saw a quarterback in Dillon Gabriel who had two considerable turnovers, which I believe to be his fault exactly. It was bad ball placement from Dillon. It really wasn't on Pierre Strong. And then that throw was just Dillon getting stubborn and doing the thing he's not supposed to do, which is the number one thing that he's got the supercomputer, right? The super processor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment where he's supposed to shine and just throw the ball away.
I just felt like after the first drive, people just made up their mind that it was a great game, and they weren't just going to be able to move off of that.
Well, I think you're right. And listen, on that first drive, which should be noted is scripted. So when he looks best on the scripted drive and the next, 4 or 5 drives, there's a decline from each one. That is a note. And it should also be noted that the difference between him under center and him, in the shotgun, Dillon's best work came out of the shotgun. That is maybe a harbinger of things to come. Like, listen, I thought he was good on third down on that first drive. I thought he was good on third down in general. But I also thought it was a complete check down Charlie performance other than the turnovers, because check down Charlies don't traditionally turn the ball over the way he did.
I mean, passer rating's not everything, Nick, and it's a catch-all stat that it tries to make everything, but it's not everything. But the difference between his passer rating and Shador's in their 2 games was 35 points. His passer rating would put him dead last in the NFL last year. That's not what I call a great game. And there's more ways to measure it than just passer rating, obviously, but you had 2 turnovers. You didn't have a touchdown pass. It looked better than I thought it was going to look. That's nice. I don't want to seem like I'm just crapping all over him.
I thought it was fine. No, that's the perfect way. And then
people just lost their minds.
I've heard it was the media.
Was it all of the collective people around us?
I have not talked to a single fan. Okay, I shouldn't say that. I have not talked to a single fan who isn't a Shador hater. Meaning like somebody who will just flat out and tell you, I don't like that kid. I don't like his dad. I don't like the social media stuff. Who's rooting for Shador to fail, right? I've not heard a single person who isn't a self-prescribed Shador hater come out and say anything other than fine. Or something like good. Good is a very that good and fine are within the same, really good, great. Those are the things I've heard from the media outside of Tyvis Powell, who on the post-game show said the word fine. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because when I was listening to the broadcast, I was like, what the hell are people talking about? With respect and love, these guys know a hell of a lot about football.
It was funny,
really good, great.
The announcer jinx that happened on the other broadcast, the Eagles broadcast, the Philadelphia one, where they're like, oh, Dillon Gabriel's looking very good. Second. And that's a pick six. It's like, I love when that happens.
And again, there was some good, but the bad, the polished job of, outside of the 2 turnovers, are we doing that with all the quarterbacks?
Which, by the way, should be the thing Stefanski cares about the most.
Yes.
He spent all offseason telling us he only cares about protecting the football.
And that's why they drafted Dillon, is because he doesn't turn the ball over too.
You led the league in turnovers last year. You led the league in interceptions last year. You weren't able to create any positives in the slightest bit in the turnover margin. That's why you ended up a 3-win team, and Stefanski was hell-bent on getting that corrected. Well, between the 2 quarterbacks, which one had the positive as far as the turnover differential?
And I think it's time to say that, I got to tell you, I don't think Dillon, I already don't think Dillon is it. Dillon has shown me nothing to say he's ready. He unraveled as that game came on. You saw his confidence come unglued. I was ready to give it to him too off that first drive. I was like, he looks confident. Sure. He looks like a professional quarterback. And then the rest of the game happened. I don't know why Dillon, because I do think Kenny's the odd man out, which something we'll get to. I don't know why Dillon's going to be the backup ahead of Shador.
He hasn't earned it.
I just don't.
Not in my opinion.
No, he earned it because Kevin Stefanski likes him more. And I don't think that's earning it.
No, it's not. It's funny because I did tweet out right when he was throwing the pick six. I'm like, maybe our buddy Sean Salisbury was right. Maybe he is just a gamer, because that was way different than what we saw at practices, at least that first drive. And then it kind of came back down to earth. Is Daryl in the morning show felt like he wanted to walk it all back. Is he, by the time we get to him at 6 o'clock, going to be like, you know what? I thought about it a little bit more. I watched a little bit more tape. Maybe I was too glowing in positives for Dillon.
If he doesn't, it could lead to a bit of a Donnybrook.
Wouldn't that be interesting if Daryl tonight is then put in the position to defend Dillon Gabriel, or starts defending Dillon Gabriel? That's what we call lose-lose in the business, Nick. Yeah. Where all of a sudden people remember his past talking about how much he thinks Dillon isn't an NFL quarterback, but then he's talking to us and he'd be sticking up for Dillon Gabriel in such an interesting way that he can't win in either way.
I will tell you this. If you were a Browns fan who thought Dillon looked really good or great or whatever on Friday or on Saturday, I'm not going to fight you. If you're a media member saying that exact same thing, I will fight you because I think
we got Nathan coming up at 3, so I'm here. I'll get popcorn ready. I'll sit back.
I think fine is the perfect approximation of how Dillon looked this weekend.